April Dávila is on a mission to debunk the tortured artist myth. A novelist and mindfulness coach, she helps writers find their flow, without booze, burnout, or blinking cursors. This episode of the Rebel Rebel is brought to you by my book, Brand Jitsu. Most brands blend in. They don't mean to, but they do. After 25 years of helping people fix that, I wrote the playbook. It's called Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. It'll show you how to shape your story so it hits and sticks. Grab a copy at your favorite bookstore or head to brandjitsu.com. Welcome to the Rebel Rebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargie. And, as soon as I was about to say it, I just knew I was going to butcher it. But across the world from me, somewhere, I've got April Dávila.
Dávila. So
Dávila.
close,
Dávila. Oh, I was going to write it down phonetically too. Dávila. April Dávila.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Yes.
I know. And just, you never have those moments when you're about to do something and you're like, I'm so confident. And then like suddenly you're just like, oh, wait, what?
Just
and then
blank slate.
Yeah,
it's not there.
Then you panic. Anyway, You're very kind, April. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. We could finally do it.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been a while. April's catch us up. Well, I have a couple quick questions. First off, where are you in the world?
Los Angeles.
Nice. Oh, you're okay though. You got.
It's been an interesting 2025 so far. Yeah, no, we actually were really close to the Eden fire, so it was a little scary for a while there. But we did have to evacuate. But we still have a home, so counting your blessings. It's funny how like almost losing your home, suddenly like coming home to do the dishes, you're like excited to do it. And you're like, oh, I love having dishes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at the shelf behind you, and what book did you grab while you were being evacuated?
It was such a weird sensation, right? Because we got the evacuation warning at 2 a.m, and you have like 20 minutes. Like, what do you grab? I remember walking through. I woke up the kids, like trying to be super calm, like, okay, no big deal, but like we need to put a few things together. And then walking through the house and being like, what do you grab? Like, what? It's such a weird moment because, you think about it kind of ahead of time, fires happen in California, but to actually be in that moment, I grabbed one photo that I have that is of my family that I don't have digitized. I grabbed my kids' baby shoes and my computer. And I was like, actually I have a portrait that my mom painted of my husband and I right after we were married. Shoved that in the car, dogs, kids, enough clothes to last us a few days. And that was it. Like, wow. Probably should have grabbed more in retrospect because a lot of my friends did lose their homes. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I really should have grabbed more because if we had lost our home, there would have been stuff I wished I had grabbed. But that's what I did. Wow.
And it certainly makes it very clear in the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess a weird question is, do you now have a go bag? Do you have a plan?
Well, I have always I am a planner. So and mentally I have a go bag and, I was much more prepared for earthquakes. I'm like ready for an earthquake. I've got the earthquake kit. I've got food. I've got like a little wind up powered radio and lots of water, but I was not ready for a fire. And then I unpacked when we got back into our house. Finally, I didn't unpack for about a week, but then I did. And now I'm kind of back to where I was like, not, ready for a fire should one happen tomorrow.
Oh, get fingers crossed. And this is not a fire podcast, but I was just curious.
No, yeah, sorry. It's an unusual time for sure.
Yeah. It's life throws you these things. And what do you do with it? So, and speaking of which, April, what is it that you do right now? Like, what's your thing? Like, if people are listening, they're like, what's April about?
Yeah, I'm a fiction writer and a fiction writing coach. And my special niche is in bringing mindfulness practices, so kind of brain hacking, if you will, to the process of writing. Because a lot of people don't get tripped up so much by like structure or plot or characters. Like they know the story they want to write, but the thing that trips them up is they sit down in front of the computer and that little blinking cursor, it's like paralyzing. And all of a sudden, all the ideas run out of your head and you don't know what you're trying to do. And that leads writers to like drink and do drugs and smoke and like try to calm down that anxiety. And so I'm on a mission to like change the narrative of the tortured artist. That's where my little niche is in the world.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah. It's a big challenge. I'm up for it.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. I mean, really what you need is like the old fashioned typewriter, although that's just the blank page, not the blinking cursor. It's the same
challenge.
It's the same challenge.
Yeah. It's really all it's the thoughts you don't really notice that will derail you every time. And you type a sentence and you delete it. That's your inner critic, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
And so the game changer is to recognize it as that little voice in your head. And then you can be like, all right, go sit down. I'm writing. You sit over there. I always like to imagine my inner critic like going with a little dunce hat and having to sit in the corner and wait her turn. Because the truth is you don't want to like murder your inner critic, because when you get to edits, she's great. Like she is like the meanest, fiercest editor you could ask for. But like if you let that inner critic engage while you're trying to do first draft, you'll never get a first draft done.
Right. Yeah. I wrote a business book, and it's about to be published. So this hits very, thank you. It hits very close to home because the whole process was awful. And awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I totally know what you mean. Yes.
I was asking, so we are in the edit cycle, and I asked my editor, I'm just like, is it normal to hate your book? Like, is it? And she goes, oh yeah. She goes, you're going to love the book when you think about writing a book. You're not going to like it so much when you have to write it, because that's hard. And it takes way longer than you think it's going to take.
Every time.
And then you're going to send the manuscript in. I was fortunate enough, I got an agent. I got a really great publishing deal.
Nice.
The publisher sent it to an editor. And so when I handed over the manuscript, and I was like, ha, cigar, scotch, yes. And then, and then I'm happy again. And then we start the edit, and, 4 months, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I hate this book so much. And then, now it's, I'm about to get my first printed copy, and I think I'm going to love it again. And then she says that once you get it in your hands and you open it, you're going to hate it again, because you're going to think about all the things that you wish that you would have done.
That sounds about accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say opening that box with the books in it for the first time and holding your book is a fantastic feeling. And I actually I didn't look any further. I looked at the title page. I've opened it to sign it for people. But no, I won't read it again because I'll only see the stuff that I want to change and fix. And And
okay,
too late.
Smart.
Too late.
That's wise. Very wise.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I probably take you up on that. I lived with that book for like 7 years, so I don't really need to read it again. It's a long
process writing a book. Yeah.
But I look forward to writing a fiction.
Do you have something in mind? Is there like an idea?
Oh, yeah. Like, I have a list of, first of all, children's books that I have to write and illustrate. And then I've got the great Canadian novel, mystery, of course. There'll be octopuses and oceans and buried treasure. And,
that sounds fantastic.
Bad guys, good guys, femme fatales. Yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about that. What happened to you, April, that made you this way?
What happened to you? It's funny. Like, as a writer, it's I love having professional permission to be a little weird sometimes. Like, I'll ask people awkward questions and be like, sorry. I'm a writer. Like, there's no such thing as TMI. I want all that people will tell me weird stuff and then be like TMI. And I'm like, no such thing. I've always wanted to know like the weird and awkward stuff. I think we all have weird and awkward, and nobody talks about it. It's not like, normal conversation stuff. And so that's where I think stories can be so revealing and interesting. And but it took me a long time to come to it in terms of like how I got here.
Have you ever wanted to like become a cop for like a year, or like work?
Maybe not a cop, but like,
you know what I mean? Like,
I have a whole list of like, I wish I could be. And those are like the books that I'm working on, right? Like, I think the greatest tragedy in life is that you only get one. And it's not even that long. Yeah. And if you're going to be very good at anything, you can't really be good at anything else. And so for writing, for me, like, so my first book is set on an ostrich farm, and it's a family of ostrich ranchers. Yeah. And and because I love the desert, and I always wondered what would it be like. You drive through the Mojave, and there's like these funny little towns with like 3 houses, and like what would it be like to live there, right? I'm never going to get to live that, but if I set a book there, I get to dive into it and explore and really embody what would it be like to live in one of these little towns out in the Mojave, and then I get to like close that book and move on to like right now I'm writing a book about an ultra marathoner, which is another thing ultra marathoning I'm obsessed with it. It's like, why do they do that? Why do they go run 100 miles? I'm never going to do it, but I can jump into it like with both feet and learn, like ask all the awkward, weird questions and explore what it would be like to be that person for a little while. And then I'll close the book on that one and write the next one. And
I love that. What jumped into my mind when you were saying that stuff is when you ask those deep questions that only people that are passionate about whatever that thing is, or they've got whatever quirk or kink or thing that they've got that they think is so uncommon, and you mine it for what it is, and then you share it, you find that truth in it. As a reader, you'll be like, it rings true, and it might touch you in a different way, being like, oh, I feel something like that, but for this, or do you know what I mean? Like oh, it's cool.
Yeah. Because there are universal themes, ultimately. There aren't any new stories, really. There's certain it's just how do you tell them? And that's what makes a story unique and interesting. And so that's like the ultra marathoner. The story is that she's been caught in an affair, and she's caught in the affair the night before the race. And so then she has like, her 20 hours of running on the trail by herself to think about all of her bad choices. So it's really a story about her relationship. It's a relationship story, but it's a great excuse for me to like dive into what would it be like to be an ultramarathoner and set it in a world that's a little unusual, which is my favorite.
Oh, that is amazing. I love that. Holy shit.
I love it too.
Yeah. What else is on the list of April books?
I wish I could go back in history and be a gold miner in California in like the 1850s. And of course, no one really gets to do that anymore, but there's definitely a book in there. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to be an anthropologist, but archaeological anthropologist. That's what it is. Like studying the human fossil record.
Oh, wow.
There's, I find that fascinating. So there's definitely like, there's a character that's kind of brewing in the back of my head who is that. And that would give me the excuse to like go interview a bunch of archaeologists, or go on a dig or something. And
that's fun.
Yeah,
I want to
endless.
I want to write something like burglar. I was enthralled by cat burglars.
You wanted to be a cat burglar, yes?
Yeah, So I'm like totally. When you said that you get to live all these lives, because I do a lot of different things in reality, but there's so many things I just want to know about, and just.
Or things that you kind of want to do, but not really. Like, you're not really going to be a cat burglar because.
No, but I really. Yeah. Right? I mean, I'm so method, though.
You have to get permission before you break in to avoid unseemly legal issues. Yeah.
Well, this is why I need to talk with my literary agent to make sure that that's the other thing. Oh my God, I know the next book. The book is going to be about an author who just does all this stuff that he's not supposed to do. And he's got this agent that keeps trying to keep him out of trouble.
Oh, I like that.
Sorry, Sam.
Like that.
I'm going to, Sam, if you're listening to this, get the bail money ready.
Yeah. Make some trouble.
Yeah. Make some
Check
trouble.
mud on the carpet.
So what's your favorite thing to do in LA? What's an LA thing for you?
Oh, there's so much to do in LA. I really like the desert. Like if it's really like my choice of what to do, we're driving out to the desert. We're going to go to Borrego Springs or Palm Springs, or there's some really cool like canyons you can go hiking in. Yeah. It's really, if you can catch it on a desert bloom when it's just carpeted with flowers. I love the full moon. We just got to the desert all the time, full moon. Yeah, but in LA proper, in terms of touristy stuff, one of my favorite things is Olvera Street. It's like where LA started.
Okay.
And it's like the one little strip that was LA before it became, and it's still like downtown. It's right in the middle of everything, but they've saved all the little bungalows and there's little museum exhibits, and
cool.
It's a cool spot.
Have you ever been out to the, what is it? The Easy Rest Inn? Like that?
No.
Oh.
I don't know the Easy Rest Inn.
I think that's what it's called. I'll just do a quick little Easy Rest in LA. Oh, Club Ed. Yeah, is what it's called.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah. A lot of movies have been shot there. Yeah, cool. It seems like it would be your thing. Maybe a setting for your next book. You don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You never know where the ideas come from.
Have you ever eaten a cactus before?
I have. But it was like unrecognizable as a cactus. It was like cut up and deep fried. And it was like, okay, I kind of have to take your word for it that this is not like I like leaned over and took a bite out of a.
Gotcha. Or you haven't been out in the desert and found like a barrel cactus and like chopped it and like drank water out of it.
No, I never have.
All right.
Never even been tempted, actually.
Yeah, I don't know why that jumped into my mind. I just thought it would. All right. You don't know. Whatever. Okay. What is an April? What does April do for April?
Oh, my life has been so much about everyone else for a while now. I mean, our kids are actually teenagers now. So it's actually a good time for this question because I have just started to be like, they don't need me nearly as much as they used to when they were little.
Yeah.
And what I did when I realized that is I signed up for a belly dancing class. So I guess that would be the answer to the question.
Amazing. Are you gonna have those?
We haven't gotten there yet. It's an introductory class. I forget castanettas, I think they're called.
Yeah, or they're like the little symbols, right? Not necessarily
the symbols. Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. I love it. And it's it's not, the teacher is just lovely and amazing. And she doesn't take it she takes it very seriously, but she's also there to have fun. So that's
what dancing is for.
Time, right? It's, we're not performing for anybody. We're just, it's like a 6-week, she does 6-week rounds where we learn a little routine and then like we start another. It's great.
Amazing. Oh, what do you do to spoil yourself with food, if anything? Like, what's your like? If you could just have this one thing.
I love a caprese salad. It's like one of my favorite, like a really good one. I also like homemade bread, homemade sourdough with avocado on it. That would be like if I had a last meal, like if I had to choose a last meal.
Yeah,
it would be the bread that my husband made during COVID. He doesn't have
He's
time
a
to
sourdough
make it
guy.
Anymore. He was a sourdough guy.
Oh, I wanted to do that
amazing.
So bad.
Hold on, I got it. I'm too warm. Yeah, he was a sourdough guy, and it was so good. And if I if I were dying and I had like one more meal, I'd be like, time out. You have to wait a week while he makes a really good sourdough loaf, and then find me the perfect avocado and like a really beautiful ripe tomato. That would be like, so good.
Yeah,
maybe some vinegar and oil on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many times do you go visit the ocean?
I love the ocean, and I always thought when we moved down to LA, because I'm a Northern California girl, and we were more inland, and I always thought if we moved down to LA, I'd be at the beach all the time.
Right.
And I was, when the kids were younger, we would go out to the beach fairly often.
Yeah.
But these days we're commuting. So my son is at a school that's a bit of a drive for us. And so now, like, when you throw a weekly commute in and then the weekend rolls around, it's like, do I want to get in the car and drive an hour through traffic to get to the beach? No, I just don't. So I haven't been going to the beach at all lately. And it kind of breaks my heart, but like, I just don't want to drive. Like, to not deal with LA traffic, you either have to go at like 5 a.m. or and I don't know. The beach is not so fun late at night or 5 a.m. It's
that's fair. 100%. That's accurate.
Yeah. So not as much as I would like.
Are you fairly active? Like, do you get out to roam around and just free your muse?
I love walking. I consider walking kind of part of your job as a writer or any creative. Like, I think also, just to put it out there, I think everyone is creative. Like, no matter what people are working on, if you're solving problems, you're creative. And I think a nice long walk is one of the best things you can do for creative work.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're stuck or something. Yep. You just leave your phone behind, go for a walk. And it's amazing how ideas will just like come to you.
And stuff that you notice, and maybe the universe will put something in your path that you need. So you got to pay attention.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, there it is. And it's not even like the thing. It's like you see a squirrel, but the squirrel sparks a thought about the thing that sparks a thought. And then next thing you know, you've got your answer.
Right.
It's amazing.
And then you run back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been known to, I have little notebooks all over the place, and I've been known to like put one in my pocket when I go for a walk, just in case.
Smart.
Because I try to write things down like as soon as they come to me.
I always want to be that guy. Like,
who carries a little notebook?
Yeah. Like, cause I come up with these crazy ideas and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll remember that. And then I get back, I'm like, what happened to it?
You never do. You got to write them down. Actually, it's funny. So I actually just sold a book to St. Martin's Press, my first nonfiction book, which is about mindfulness and writing. And I was just working on the chapter about how writing down ideas is so important, not necessarily because every idea is brilliant, but that because it trains you to notice the ideas that come.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, there's a really good idea that comes to your head. And if you don't write it down, you'll lose it.
Yeah.
So I think it's such a good practice to just write them all down, even the bad ones. I have a whole file of bad ideas, and every once in a while there's a good one.
I love it. That's so great. I have this weird thought that the ones that I thought that I'd never forget, and then I get home and I forgot, is that I dropped them somewhere and some other writer picked them up and has them now.
Yeah.
And then maybe they were going to like take it and write it down, but they decided they would remember. So they dropped it, and another person,
and someone else. Yeah. And then I'll come along with my notepad and it's mine.
And it's just like, no, April, not again.
Fair game. You dropped it. Yeah.
I know. This
stories are like that.
You just upped my game. Good. Look at this. You're good at your job.
Thanks. I really like what I do. I really like working with writers.
Yeah, I can tell. You're so let's say you're out on a walk, and I don't know what part of LA you're in, doesn't matter. I'm assuming there's probably a palm tree here or there. There's maybe there's a squirrel, maybe there's like a really cool dog that you walk past all the time, but whatever it is that you're doing, you got your notebook and you're, I don't know, observing the world, and you think to yourself, what is the one thing that you wish the world knew?
That's such a good question. I'm not even really sure. The one thing I wish the world knew, I think that I wish everyone knew how much they mattered.
Oh.
Because I think if COVID taught us anything, it's how quickly things get passed along. That like, if you go out into the world and you're in a good mood and you're like saying hi and smiling at people, that like you really are changing people's days. And then they go on and change other people's days. And then they go and it just is this ripple effect. And same is true if you're grumpy and you go out and you're a dick to someone for no reason, and then they're a dick to someone, and that gets carried on. And how much that, like, I think if people understood how much they matter, they would take the time they need to like feed their souls and their hearts and their minds, and be able to walk around a little more at ease, a little happier, and I don't know, spread that in the world.
Yeah. Spread happiness, not COVID.
Not COVID. Well, I'm also a really big believer in how much fiction matters, how much story matters. And I think a lot of people hesitate to tell their stories because they think they don't matter. Or like, who am I? Like, especially if it's a made up story, right? Like, who are you to just tell a story? And like, who's going to want to read that? And imagine if Stephen King had felt that way, all the stories that would have been denied the world. Like, all of us have stories, and I think they all matter. They all matter.
Oh, leave no story behind.
Yeah. Write that story. Get it. Also, like, this, I don't always say this to people, but like, once a story gets its hooks in you, you're kind of fucked. Like, it's going to be there until you deal with it.
I know.
Yeah. It's kind of bad news if you don't have like any way to tell that story.
Yeah.
Because you can ignore it. It might get a little quieter, but like, it just is going to cling and linger, and you're going to be.
It's like a tick.
I'm going to pause for a second, put the dog out because she's scratching at the door.
Yeah.
how'd you go? Yeah. So that's, I mean, once a story gets its hooks in you, there's really no way out but through. You got to write it.
Yeah. It's like there's a tick. You've got a tick.
Yeah. And you got to deal with it.
Yeah. Interesting.
You could ignore it, but to your peril.
Yeah. True. You're obviously a reader. I grew up in a home where it was bookshelves all over the place. So I feel very at home looking at your background. What's your go-to book?
I don't have one. It depends on my mood. It depends on, I very rarely reread books. And so I think the best answer to that is to like the couple of books that I have reread is like Grapes of Wrath, Lonesome Dove. But lately I've been much more into like fantasy and romance.
Interesting.
And actually, this started during COVID too. I just had this like, give me another world. I don't want this one anymore. And I went into my daughter. She was like 13, 14 at that point, and went into her bookshelf, and she has all these fantasy sci-fi books, and just fell in love with them.
Amazing.
And then discovered romance because, as the pandemic dragged on, it was like, I wanted a happy ending. I wanted like someone, like I wanted to start a book that I knew was going to end happy.
Right.
Because with literary fiction, you never know. I mean, unless someone tells you how it ends, which kind of spoils the book. Yeah. But with a romance, it's a happily ever after. Like that's the defining characteristic of the genre. So I've started reading a lot of romance novels. Too.
Outstanding. Are you, do you dog ear your pages?
Oh, books live very hard lives in my hands.
Oh. You just ring out every word.
I'm circling. I'm writing in the margins. I'm dog ear. Like books. I don't keep that many of them. This shelf here is actually kind of unusual. This was another COVID project. My daughter organized it, and I think it's really pretty, and it makes a nice background. So I keep these books, but I don't keep most of the books I read. And so knowing that I'm not like precious about them. No. And the few books I have that I've kept for a long time, they're like falling apart. Like my copy of Lonesome Dove there, like I probably need to get another one. It's unreadable now because pages just fall out of the binding and
Oh, you're my people.
Some people take that really badly. They get really offended.
Yeah. No, I like when I get a book that I really want to get into, I'll break the spine. Like I just want
it over with.
Yeah. I just want it to be like, cause I want to be able to get it. Like I would need to hold it. And then my
mother-in-law, if she has it for her book club, if it's a fat book, she tears it in two so that it's not so heavy and she can read it in bed. I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
I mean, some people would be mortified, but I think it's kind of genius. Books exist to like feed you. And if there's a way to make that easier.
Yeah. Just ring it out. Ah.
Yes.
Give me those words. Give them to me.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you have an author that you, I don't know, maybe not style yourself after, but inspires you to write in a certain way?
Yeah. And that shifts over time too. Elizabeth Gilbert is one of my favorite writers. I mean, everyone knows her for Eat, Pray, Love, but I think her fiction is underrated. She's a wonderful fiction writer. Who else? I really like John Steinbeck, but like, from Northern California and my dad's family were Okies. So I like the Grapes of Wrath, like sucked me in the first time I read it.
Sure.
I'm getting a little pop-up that says picture in picture mode closed to maintain recording quality. Does that matter? Should I just close that?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not seeing it. So
okay.
Should be good.
But mostly what I try to do is read a lot. And just let all of it inform me as a writer. Like, I think the worst thing a writer can do is try to write like somebody.
Absolutely.
Because then you're just trying to copy versus letting yourself be inspired by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. How does somebody get in touch with you to will you accept any recalcitrant author?
In a word, yes. Yes. I'm very easy to find. So April Dávila everywhere. There aren't that many of us. So if AprilDávila.com, I'm on social medias at April Dávila. And I have a lot of different ways that I work with writers. Like I have a writing community that meets every day at 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
Wow.
And that is like, doesn't matter what you're writing. We don't share our work. We just get together. We meditate for a few minutes. We write for an hour. And people have made connections where they will swap pages like outside of the meetings, but the meetings are just for like meditate and write. And so we have people who come and just journal. We have, science writers, screenplay writers, poets, fiction writers, like doesn't matter. Nice. Everyone is welcome. And then there's other, like I have specific programs, like if you have a manuscript and you want, a set of notes on it, or if you're trying to finish the first draft of a manuscript, I have another program for that. So there are a lot of different ways that I work with writers.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to an aspiring writer, what would it be?
To just keep writing.
Okay.
I had a teacher who used to say there are two kinds of writers, those who get published and those who quit.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, and people will talk about talent. I take persistence over talent every day of the week. Yeah. Because I've met some, like when I went to grad school, I met some amazing writers who didn't have the discipline, didn't have the persistence, and just kind of fizzled out. When they didn't immediately get a book deal and a bestseller, they were like, and kind of lost interest, which was a shame.
Yeah.
But I've seen writers who have okay skill as a writer really work on their craft and revise into beautiful books that go on to do really well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, persistence over talent every day of the week. Just keep writing, keep learning. And hiring a coach is never a bad idea. But I think that's true for whatever we're trying to do in our lives. Like if you want to run a marathon, hire a running coach. If you want to cook healthier food, hire someone to come in and just teach you. I mean, yes, you can take the time and go look up 1,000 YouTube videos. That's always an option. But if you can afford it, hiring a coach is just such a dramatic way to shorten the timeline to any outcome. This is what I'm learning as I get older of like, I could spend 40 hours researching something on YouTube, or I could just pay someone to tell me what to do.
I love that. That makes so much sense. I was thinking like, I have some friends that do stand-up comedy, and I've probably done 20 shows in my life. That
sounds terrifying to me. Stand-up comedy. Oh,
yeah.
You couldn't make me.
Well, I mean, I do improv, which is like, I've done probably hundreds of those shows, but there's the bar is pretty low, right? Like you don't know what you're going to do. The audience doesn't know what you're going to do. You can, whatever. The stakes aren't very high. Stand-up comedy, I think the stakes are a lot higher because it's your material. It's how you deliver it. It's, it's all your baby.
Standing up there by yourself on the stage. That's like
no net.
Yeah.
And what I've found is I think I shouldn't say could have. I think I can be a very good stand-up comedian, except that I didn't really love saying the same stuff over and over again in the same rooms. Even though I know, like I've watched my contemporaries and people that I really respect do that. And then they work on their stuff. They'll take a moment that they got to laugh at and they'll embellish. Do you know what I mean? Like they really worked at it. So I have a ton of respect for what you just said about, being consistent, persistent, and working on your craft. That's the cheat code, people.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish it were easier. I wish there was some way where you could be like, just do X, Y, Z and you'll be a brilliant writer. But like, it really is about just doing the work.
Yeah. Putting pen to paper. There are people in the world, April, and I call them rebels in waiting. And I'm going to say maybe they're different than writers. Maybe they're not. Like I asked you about advice for writers, but for rebels, they're people that are maybe going to do something completely different. I don't know. They don't know what to do next, or I like to say they're the Wile E. Coyote just stepped off you like the desert. They just stepped off the ledge and they just looked down and they got the uh-oh sign. But gravity hasn't quite taken hold yet. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah, it's hard to be that person sometimes, the rebel, because a lot of people are going to tell you what's impractical or unrealistic, and I think the best thing you can do for yourself, if you find that you're kind of a rebel, and you're doing something different than other people are doing,
Yeah.
Is to find other rebels, which is, I mean, this podcast is great for that. But like, even if it's reading books from people who are doing the things that you want to do, because you need to be around the people where you can ask the weird questions, and you can be your weird self and know that people will like cheer you on and not shut you down. So I think finding your other rebels, your other slightly weird people who are doing what you want to do. And the truth is, like, we're all a little weird, right? And I think when you can embrace the thing that makes you a little weird, suddenly it's not weird, it's special.
Right.
And that's your niche in the world. And if you fight it, you're weird. If you embrace it and run with it with like a group of other people who are doing the same thing, then you're special and unique and doing something interesting. I mean, the thing I do of like sitting around and just making up like stories, that's crazy.
Yeah. Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah. Like, who gets to do that? Or I have like, one of the, I guess they're compliments that I'm never quite sure how to handle is like when I tell people about my story ideas, like, they'll be like, wow, you just do a lot of drugs? I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, or if they're calling me weird. But at this point, it's like, it's working for it. I love what I do. And if I come off as a little weird or I ask awkward questions, like the people who love me love that about me. And the people who don't, they will just fade off and go find other people to hang out with.
Amazing. I never thought about, the being a fiction writer as a license to really inhabit other lives and ask just the most curious questions, just allowing yourself to ask what's the next question?
Yeah.
What happens next? Unapologetically, or maybe apologetically. I don't know.
Well, I try to read the room. Like, I'm pretty bold with asking questions of strangers, but I also like, sometimes you can see on their face that like you freak them out. And then it's time to just like, okay, back away, give them a little space. It's a delicate dance.
What's the weirdest question you've ever asked?
Oh, the one that comes to mind, I was on an airplane like 2 weeks ago, and this woman sat down and she was in her 60s and she was super fit. And so I was like, this is a weird question, but like, do you work out? And it felt like a come on line, which is weird, right? Like I was like, I know this is going to sound weird. It sounds like I'm coming on to her. And I was like, but I don't know, like I'm getting older and it's harder to stay fit. And when I see someone who's like doing something I want to do, I'm going to just ask them like, how do you do that? Like, and we actually had a lovely conversation. She was a horseback rider. Okay. And so we got into this whole talk about horses, and then it turned out she was a big reader. So we spent like an hour and a half on the plane just talking about, have you read this book? Have you read this book? And we had the best conversation. It was nice.
Are you an extrovert?
Oh, in small doses.
An ambivert?
I really like people like on one-on-one, but like I hate big parties. I just, big parties I used to love them, but I used to like drink a lot and do a lot of drugs. So
LA, hello.
I think that was how I coped with the fact that I didn't actually like big parties. I would get so uncomfortable that I would have to like get drunk so I could be comfortable.
Yeah, just phase
And
it
now
out.
that like I'm a little older and I don't want to do that anymore, I've realized like, oh, I don't have to go to big parties. I actually can just hang out with people one-on-one. I'm great with one-on-one. I don't like big parties.
I've one, maybe this is the last question, but what's the most writer thing you've ever done?
Sorry, the thing that came to mind. So when I was in grad school, I had a teacher who was really big on writing senses, right? Of like touch and smell. And we would have these homework assignments where we had to write about 4 different smells. And I remember I was late. I was on my way to school. The assignment was due, and the assignment for that week was touch. I was in line at Starbucks, and I had to write down some touch sensations in my little notebook before I got to class. And so there was this, on top of the coffee machine, there was this tube of caramel. And I was like, what does that feel like? And I reached over and I was like fondling this tube of caramel. And I was like taking notes. I mean, how so weird. It's such a weird thing to do. But
how do you explain that?
I didn't even try. I was just like, the woman came up to the coffee, like to make the next drink, and gave me this weird look. And I was like, oh, sorry. I'm done.
It's
I just moved on, just got my coffee and got out of there. But yeah, amazing. Fondling the caramel is probably one of the odder things that I've done as a writer.
This has been amazing. April, this has been so much fun. I think we should do this again sometime.
I would love that. My book is coming out next year. Maybe we could get together and talk about that when it comes out.
Yes.
It's the nonfiction book.
I would love that. Right. Do me a favor, do us all a favor, and just hit us up again with where people can connect with you.
Yeah, AprilDávila.com is kind of my home base. That links out to social media, all the things.
Amazing.
AprilDávila.com.
Thank you, April. This has been so fun.
Thank you. It's been great. I really appreciate you hosting me.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Hey, if you're an artist, scientist, entrepreneur, or business owner who wants a smooth and proven method to find, shape, and share your story with the world, head on over to brandjitsu.com and order a copy of my book, Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargie, and this has been the RebelRebel podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, head on over to the RebelRebelPodcast.com and fill out the guest request form. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.